Hey there folks, what's going on? It's Codiak here, and today we are talking about Corepunk again. It's been a hot minute since we've talked about the game, but that doesn't mean we're not keeping up with all the updates and checking in with the team every so often just to make sure things are still on the right track. And today they released their quarterly update. I love that games are doing this nowadays. They're coming up with either monthly updates or quarterly updates, really keeping the community locked in. And what I love so much about the Corepunk team is that they're not afraid to let their concept art out into the world. They just bust out a ton of content. I mean, it's really impressive to see how much concept art the art team at Corepunk is putting out into the world, and once again they did that with their quarterly update. We also learned though some big things, some important things to talk about today, and I want to start with the character customization and what they're calling gender unlocked. So I think one of the big concerns about this game from the community, from what I could tell, it's still a relatively small community, was that each of the classes that were showcased seemed very locked in. Couldn't tell if you could be a guy or a girl or whatever. And so they've finally announced that you are going to be able to customize your character no matter what class that you play. And that's going to include a few things here. You're going to be able to pick the sex, of course, male, female, or otherwise. Customizable features, including custom haircuts, hair color, facial hairstyles, facial hair colors. You're actually also going to be able to color the skin, lips, and eyes different colors based on whatever palette they give us. So really cool customization here. They showcased a bunch of kind of their looks. Again, it's all concept art or model art, something like that, 3D art, but it looks really high fantasy. We've got the high ponytails. We've got some kind of almost like Corepunk-y style things, and that makes sense because a little bit edgier, a little bit grittier, and that's kind of the vibe of the game. Yes, it's a fantasy game, but it's set in this Corepunk world, and that gives us some really unique options and gives the art team a chance to kind of step out of the box and do things that are modern, but still fit in that kind of high fantasy realm. So really cool stylings here. Excited to see how this applies to each of the different character classes when we get to that point. Still nothing super in-depth about character classes. I'm sure we're going to talk about that quite a bit when we get the first gameplay videos and streams coming out. And since we're talking about it, we might as well break that wide open too, because early May is going to be our first real shorter gameplay video or stream. The devs have said early May is when they're going to showcase either a 15 to 30 minute video or stream of the game. And guys, I cannot tell you how excited I am about this. This is the thing we've been waiting for. We got a really great trailer. IGN got first dibs on that. It looked great. There was a lot of hype around the game, and then it kind of died away. Breaking in with an MMORPG is so damn hard nowadays. Everybody's playing first-person shooters, competitive games, survival games. So breaking in with a brand new MMORPG is very challenging. What Corepunk has going for it is 5+ years of development, a solid team of, I think it's 100+ people, I believe, if I remember back when we started covering this game a few months ago. So 15 to 30 minute video coming out in early May, but wait, there's more. Following up that in June is going to be a couple hours or more video or stream, and that's where we're really going to get to see the game, see kind of the facets of the MMORPG exposed for all of us, the systems, the gameplay, the trajectory of the game. That is going to be a huge stream or video in June. I am so excited about that. And who knows, the team said in their post that they may include some streamers or content creators, possibly. They don't know yet, which is great because there are some really talented content creators making content for Corepunk, even though the community is not massive. So it's really exciting to see that they're still taking care of their content creators and potential streamers. All right, so the next thing we have to talk about is the business model. This is what makes or breaks an MMORPG in 2020. Keeping an MMO afloat is absolutely insane nowadays because there just aren't enough people that are willing to pay money to play games. There's too many solid free-to-play games that get you in other ways through microtransactions and other things. So how do you survive as an MMO? Well, the team has decided to go with a buy-to-play plus cosmetic system with a battle pass and in-game store. Now, before you click off, before you get all pissed off about something, the truth is, that's how they need to survive. They got to keep the lights on some way. So what they've promised is that nothing within the buying, the microtransactions will affect gameplay at all. The in-game store and the battle pass will only give players cosmetic rewards. Of course, in 2020, cosmetics are everything. They're everywhere. That's all players seem to want to get and achieve and care about and talk about. So as long as they're not touching the core gameplay, that's fine with me. I can resist buying some stupid cloak or some boots or whatever, but who knows? It's a great way to support developers outside of paying for the game. I'm fine paying for content. You're going to create quest content, raid content, whatever. Sure, I'll give you money for it. I may not buy those boots and that fancy cloak or maybe the weird mount. I'm just not going to do it. But that doesn't mean other people don't. Tons of people do. I mean, that's how games make a living nowadays. And for an MMORPG in 2020 to admit that we have to do something like that to survive is really credit to the reality of the situation. So they're going to go with a system like that. They are not going to put anything in the game that could possibly detract from the gameplay, give players an edge up in the gameplay. So yes, it's a buy to play model. That's where they're going. Hopefully it works. I've never seen a battle pass work in an MMORPG. I don't think, I mean, WildStar, I think, had something. Clearly that game's not around anymore. World of Warcraft never had anything like that, a battle pass system. So it's interesting to see if it's going to work. I hope it does work. Hopefully you're interested in it because microtransactions help keep the lights on, and that is what matters. Now, the final thing I want to talk about before we take a step back and look at some of the older stuff is the world design. The team has admitted that they are working very hard on the starting zone, the starting points where players will experience the game for the first time, and they are going to showcase that in the streams and the videos coming up in May and June. So a few screenshots here of kind of the starting zones, really cool things. We see kind of the drab teals and greens of this dreary looking shot here, and of course we got more of the bizarre small town autumnal feel in a few of these other shots here. So I'm really excited for that. And then we've got one final gameplay clip here, which has got a very Ori and the Will of the Wisp vibe to it, that kind of blue luminescent glow coming out of this mine shaft, dreary but yet inviting at the same time. So really cool screenshots there. Excited to see that finally come in May and possibly June with the extended gameplay trailer. So the team also, one more thing, revealed, as I said before, tons of concept art. And I love this about this team. They're just so forthcoming with their concept art. And there's a ton to break down here, guys. In the first shot here, we see all sorts of new monsters. We see larger, almost Eastern inspired, like kabuki theater type characters here. We see some casters with scythes and stabs. We see these little characters in the bottom right with knives and daggers. And then moving down, we see more tribal or Native American inspired characters here. Druid-esque, creepy druid-esque. I don't know how you would describe these things. They're almost nomadic people with loincloths and feathers and turquoise, which is a huge color in Native American culture, at least in the Americas. We also see some kind of rudimentary items on the bottom right here, the stabs, the scythes, the axe blade type things, the clubs, and of course the spears, which is so iconic in nomadic people. Moving right along, we see another set of monsters here. These are ent-type creatures. These are living trees. Very interesting seeing the evolution from right to left with a small little guy who actually looks quite menacing and could be a huge pain in the ass, all the way to the left, which is almost like an elderly character. So really, maybe this is a progression of sorts. We see the youngling on the far right and kind of the elder tree on the left. Who knows where we're going to see these guys and if they're going to be a huge pain. Obviously, the Alanians are kind of the forest people. Who knows? This could be part of the Alanian storyline. These could be enemies we could face in the Alanian forests. It's hard to say at this point. And we've got a few more screenshots to go through here. The next scene is these kind of wildebeest crossed with walrus characters. They've got these really menacing looking horns on the front of them with blood stained on them. They've got these kind of ridges on their back and they look like straight up tanks. So definitely do not want to cross paths with them. Really cool artwork there. And then moving right along to some more of the creepier things, we've got these kind of like skeletal crystal zombies. It's really hard to put a fine point on this until you get to the bottom where you see them dressed in like construction gear. So this could possibly be a turned people, one of the factions that was turned because of some catastrophe or something like that. A very creepy vibe, not something I would want to see in a mine shaft or a creepy forest late at night, but very, very cool, spooky blue eyes, and just kind of the rigidness of all of those, manacles coming off of them, those spikes, really give them a lot of personality. And then finally, we have one last screenshot. Another creepy set of concept art here. Very alien looking creatures. Scorpions mixed with characters from Alien. They've got very sharp fangs here. We've got scorpion tails, and then on the top right you can see this kind of melding of faces on this abominable scorpion. I do not like this one bit, but then again, this is a high fantasy mixed with, you know, steampunk, Corepunk type environment. So who knows what we're going to find. Some really cool concept art here. And I wanted to take a quick step back. We haven't been covering this game as much as we'd like to. We try and cover things in bigger swaths, not necessarily just like one set of concept art. I want to take a look back at kind of the Yorner stuff that they talked about and revealed a while back. Now, the Yorners are kind of the tech heads of the Corepunk world. They can make something out of nothing, and they released a ton of visuals. The Yorner Walker, which is just so cool, looks like a spider walker. This is definitely a mount we've seen in the game already in the trailer. Excited to get our hands on that. Such a cool animation with the sparks flying off the back with kind of the exhaust system and just the way it walks. It just feels very kind of spider-like, and you can kind of see on the front it's got those multiple eyes to kind of parallel how a spider actually sees and looks in real life. We actually saw variations of this, so we have more of like a platform walker here, which has got a wider base, kind of a bigger seated area, and again, very much in the steampunk vein of design. Another walker here, this is the one we just saw animated, which has those multiple eyes in the front. We can see those exhaust systems kind of on the back and the side, and we can actually see it's a pack like spider. You can pile stuff on the back, and who knows what that's going to look like in the actual gameplay itself, if you're going to be able to store items in your walkers or not. And then of course we have just a few buildings, concept art of Yorner places. Yorners of course known for being able to dig into kind of the snowy mountainsides, and that's what they've done so well, is cut out their chunk of the world, if you will. And they showcase just a few of these things. We see kind of a steam train type system in a construction zone type area. We see a sewage section, and just kind of the way that they can merge scraps of metal, chunks of metal to create these beautiful buildings, which together will create kind of a vibrant environment for like Yorner civilization. So really excited to see this. It's such a contrast of seeing these kind of mechanical creations in a snowy, rocky environment. So a really cool juxtaposition there of concepts and artwork, and just really excited to see exactly where the Yorner experience takes us, where their quests lie, what their lore is, and of course for me, I'm excited to see if there's any raids or PvE endgame content there. So quarterly update for the Corepunk team, a lot of really cool stuff. Again, that gameplay stream or video will be coming in early May. Super excited about that. If you're interested in following Corepunk some more, make sure to keep it here on Legion Gaming. We're going to be covering all the big updates. We're going to be playing this game ourselves, guys. We cannot wait for this game. Should be coming out, or at least a beta this year, and then some more content as we get towards November, December, end of the year. We'll be getting our hands closer to this game. The team has been very forthcoming about information. We're excited for Eugene and his team. They've got an awesome team over at the Corepunk studios there. So really excited to keep checking this one out. Remember, like and subscribe, and of course, join us on Discord. Huge Discord, over 2,800 people on the Legion Gaming Discord. We've got a Corepunk section. Our buddy Dragum is super excited. He is so passionate about this game, but he needs more people to talk to. So if you just want to talk about Corepunk, join the Discord, assign yourself that Corepunk role, and hang out with Dragum and the rest of the Legion team. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legion Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.